for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning. This is City Beat. I'm CJ Carter, and joining me in studio today is Mayor Dennis Fenske. Thank you for coming in, sir.
Good morning.
First off, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to all the Irish people and Irish wannabes.
Now, of course, you've got your green hats, so you're in the festive season. I dyed my hair green for all the radio listeners. I'm bald, so. Now, if you have a question that you'd like to ask Mayor Fenske, give us a call on the on-air line, 677-8181. So to kick things off, what's been happening around the city?
Just a safety share for today. Again, we're heavy into that freeze-thaw time of year where we have the sun has some heat during the day, a little bit of melting, and then it's freezing during the night. So we got a little bit of snowfall yesterday. So we've got lots of opportunity to slip and fall if you're walking. We've got lots of opportunity for slippage if you're driving. So if you're driving, give yourself lots of space between vehicles. And again, watch out for the children going to and from school from 8:30 to 9, noon to 1, and 3:30 to 4:30. Because of slip and fall, they could easily fall into traffic, and we wouldn't want to see that happen.
Oh, of course. Safety on roads and even off roads for our ATV and snowmobile riders out there, incredibly important. Now, the city, of course, is doing all it can to make all that safe, but what sort of things can the public do to keep themselves safe?
Well, basically, be aware of your surroundings. If at your home, if you have sand or salt, make sure that your step or driveway is cleared to avoid the slipping areas. If you have downspouts, drain spouts that are pooling water during the day, make sure you chip those away. And just on a personal note, wear the proper footwear for the time of year.
Great. Now, we are 1 week removed from the public forum on the wastewater treatment plant. How do you feel that it went?
I thought it went very well. We had over 80 people in attendance, which is a great turnout for a public hearing. There were some excellent questions, both from the objection side and the in favor side. We got some suggestions that we're following up on. We've got some clarifications that we provided at the time and further clarifications to some specific properties that we'll be following up. But overall, I thought it went very well. Got good comments after the fact in regards to the content of the information that was provided, the quality of the questions that were asked. So I think we're moving it along quite well.
Well, that's good. Has the city been able to follow up on any of those unanswered questions?
Yes, so we've sent comments and letters to those that objected during the hearing to advise them that they have an additional 30 days to object to the municipal board if they feel so. The minutes and notes from the meeting have been sent to the municipal board. That will probably take 30 to 45 days for them to respond to us. They'll provide us with two options. Either they'll say they have no concerns and we can proceed with the second and third reading of the bylaw, or they may choose to hold their own hearing based on the quality and the quantity of information that we provided to them.
Now, if they do decide to go forward with the hearing of their own, how long or how far back do you expect the second hearing to be pushed?
Well, they would have to follow the normal rules of public hearings, so I believe it's 21 days of advertising. So we're at least a month out from that process, which would set us back by the end of the day, probably 2 months from where we need to be.
Plus the 21 days that citizens have to send their objections into the municipal board. So we're still at least another 3 weeks away from hearing back from the municipal board at all.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification there, sir. Quick reminder to those listening, if you have a question that you'd like to ask Mayor Fenske, you can give them a call. You can give us a call on the on-air line, 677-8181. Now, this past Monday, City Council meeting, there were some motions passed in support of the Federal Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Can you tell me about what the motions were?
Well, we had three motions, and basically it was came out of the Truth and Reconciliation report and the 94 calls to action. Of that, we had administration review those 94 and find the ones that are applicable to municipal governments, the ones that we can act on. And so the first one was in regards to cultural awareness and staff training, and so we are in support of that, and we are moving forward with providing those programs to our staff. Second was in regards to recognizing the United Nations Indigenous Rights statement, and we endorsed that. And then the third one had to do with the discovery and the terra nullius process back in the day when it was first settled, and objecting to that process being used at that time.
Okay. Now, some councillors remarked after the motions were passed that this was a historic passing. Would you agree?
Absolutely. This is very historic for our community. As I said before, our community is almost 50% Aboriginal in nature from the census numbers. Our surrounding region is 65,000 trading area, predominantly Aboriginal. We reside in the traditional grounds of the Nishuikiak Cree Nation traditional grounds, and so it's basically our duty to lead as the municipal government in this area, to be leaders in ensuring that the recommendations that have been provided through the Truth and Reconciliation process be implemented where they can from a municipality's perspective, and also lobby the federal government and the provincial government and other agencies to move on the remaining statements that can be acted on as well.
Alrighty. Now, also at the council meeting, things got off to a bit of a rocky start. We had 3 councillors abruptly leaving the room after a motion to table the meeting was voted down. What's the story here? Well,
basically, it's a process, and I mean, thankfully, we live in a democratic world and a democracy in the way that council is run and operated. We have a organizational bylaw and organizational procedure bylaw that we follow. And their comments were regarding not being able to have access to an electronic agenda prior to the meeting as per the bylaw, which states 4 o'clock on Friday. So, I mean, that happens. There's nowhere in the bylaw that it states that a meeting shall be canceled because of that. If you do, if council wishes to or needs to cancel a meeting, whether it be a public hearing or a council meeting, we have to provide 48 hours notice to the general public for that purpose. In regards to the move to table, that's a normal practice in regards to Robert's Rule of Order and tabling motions. We open our meeting every meeting with the adoption of the agenda that's before us. That takes a resolution. The 3 councillors objected to that resolution and so moved to table. When you move to table, it's non-debatable. As the chair, I have to call for a seconder. I did. There was a seconder. So we had a resolution to table, moved and seconded, and then the next process is to vote. There's no discussion. It's non-debatable. And so we had a vote, and the vote was 3 in favor to table and 6 against the table. That's the will of council. So we move on with the business of council. The 3 councillors chose to leave the chambers. That's their choice, and we moved on with the business of council.
So with those sections that you were talking about earlier of the organization bylaw, with those in mind, do you think that these councillors were justified in their decision to leave?
Well, they made their own choice and obviously made that decision. So I'm not going to judge them on what they did or didn't do. They'll have to live with it. They are elected officials, so we have business to do, and the remaining councillors continue to operate within the parameters of a council meeting structure, and we continued with that business. You'll have to ask the 3 councillors if they feel they were right or wrong. I'm not going to judge them one way or the other.
All right, fair enough. Now, I've seen some questions popping up about Thompson Unlimited. Have there been any updates about what's going on over there? Because things have been pretty quiet for a while, and members of the public seem to be growing impatient.
Well, I think that's a generalized statement. I haven't certainly seen an abundance of calls as to Thompson Unlimited. We have certain individuals who have raised the issue. But we did go through a transition in Thompson Unlimited from the previous board to a new board. We did transition from the previous manager to a new manager. They will be coming forth as part of one of the funded agencies. We fund 5 controlled entities through the budgetary process. They're one of them, and one of the responsibilities is to provide updates. They will be coming to council by the end of this month with a update on the first quarter for 2016 and providing some strategic planning results that they're going into, I believe, next week. So there will be an update by the general manager and the chair of Thompson Unlimited at a council meeting, and the general public will be well aware of what's going on at Thompson Unlimited.
Okay, good. Now, before we wrap up for today, was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Well, I think there's a novice tournament this weekend. Again, lots of activity at the TRCC. There's also a curling bonspiel, so again, lots of activity. Want to wish the basketball teams that are traveling south best of luck in the provincials. And again, from a safety perspective, just be well aware this is a freeze-thaw time of year. Lots of sunlight today, and it's going to freeze tonight, and will be slippery again in the morning. So be very cautious.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us this week, sir. That's it for this edition of City Beat. Make sure to join us every Thursday at 11:30 to find out what's happening around the city and City Hall. For 102.9 CHTM, I'm CJ Carter.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11:30 with more.